What's up, Rob here, Man vs. Pin. Easter is right around the corner. So when Droomkus and I am Dibubbles suggested this pretty awesome message in an egg pin, I knew we had ourselves a challenge. Here we go. First up, I got myself some eggs. Organic, cage-free, motherfuckers. Took out a bowl and a shot glass and placed my egg on top. Lots of safety nets going on. Then, with a safety pin, I began to pierce the top of the egg. Now, the egg is pretty solid, and this happens with only a little bit of pressure. Really no fear of it cracking, so don't worry about that. I want to make the hole a little bit bigger, so I'm carefully just chipping away at the top of the egg, making one little hole next to the other, so on and so forth, slowly forming a small circle. Now, you don't have to rush this process, just take it slow and steady, and... oh, f***. Son of a... Alright. One man down. The next egg didn't go so well either. I finally got it down the third time around. I slowly poked the hole on the top, very carefully, chipped away tiny amounts of the shell till I got the perfect small little hole. Time to get the insides out, right? I imagine you just shake it out, possibly? Maybe? No. This does not work. What the pin doesn't tell you is that you need another hole on the opposite side of the egg so that you can blow the inside of the egg out. Got it. Not a problem. Flip the egg over, poked a hole onto the other side, made a couple little small holes around it to expand it. I discovered also that by running my needle point around the edge, I can make it kind of a little bit smooth. That was gonna be the egg, you guys. This was the one. All right, rule number one, don't get cocky with the egg. The egg is not your friend. Egg number 4, however, egg number 4 was a real winner. What? A strong, sturdy, awesome egg. I poked out a nice sized hole at the top, another one at the bottom, carefully, this time, of course, very f***ing carefully. It only took 4 eggs, but I was finally ready to move on to the next step. I grabbed a glass and began to blow the contents of the egg out. This is exactly as much fun as it looks like. A little gross, but definitely a good time. Afterwards, I washed the egg out a little bit with some water, dried it off, and for some reason, I thought that I would dye the egg with regular egg coloring, but that was quickly abandoned. So I moved on to just painting the egg with regular paint, but that proved to be way too messy and time-consuming, so instead I took the Easter egg dipper thingy, bent it, straightened it out, and ran it through my egg, thus allowing me to take it outside and spray paint it. So much easier. Just give it a light coat, nothing too drippy, and you're golden. Once it was dried, I took a fine point paint pen and began to draw on some small white polka dots. Now, by the time I was done, I was pretty shocked at my amazing new egg decorating skills. Not gonna lie. I then took out some graph paper, cut myself a small sliver, and wrote a poetic something or the other, and without much precision began to roll up the message as tiny as I could get it. Popped it in the egg, no problem. Kept moving. I got myself a small box, some of this paper Easter grass stuff, and placed the egg gently inside. Not that bad. Definitely on par with the pin, if I might say so myself. But the show must go on. Time to crack this sucker open. To avoid me completely destroying the shell, I started to crack it open with a small screwdriver. I ended up breaking it into a ton of pieces anyway, so it didn't help. Fuck it, it's an egg. Then I go to retrieve the message and... oh, well, what the f*** is this? It's completely unreadable, and due to whatever moisture that was still remaining inside of the egg, the paper soaked it all up and made the ink run and bleed everywhere. Awesome. Keep in mind this was only one day after I placed the paper in there, which I did immediately after I made the egg, which was obviously the problem. So in order to correct this and make it work in the future, you've just got to let the egg dry out for a couple days first, because there's also still the membrane inside the egg, and that needs to completely be dry. So rule number 2, let the egg dry out first before inserting your note, or else you look like an asshole. I actually retried this with another egg a couple days later. I let it dry, inserted the note again, and cracked it open the next day. Happy to report it was dry and the message was clearly readable. So yeah, despite the pin looking awesome, it really doesn't give you all the info that you need. Regardless, I think I pulled it off. It's pretty good. If you were to put a note inside of an egg, what would it say? Express yourself in the comments. And hey, if you've got a pin out there that you want tested, tried, fried, be sure to leave it below. See you next week.